Welcome to Nightmare Narratives. This story's called Art of the Hitcher. Every ride has a cost. For Harvey, it's art. For you, it's your face. Determined to make progress, he started to walk, knowing that hitchhiking wasn't exactly the done thing these days, but convinced that it might be his only option to continue on his travels. With a reluctant resolve, he put his thumb out while he walked, his demeanor less enthusiastic than he had hoped. It wasn't as if he were waving energetically at every passing vehicle. Instead, he traveled in a daze, the sun beating down on him, with his thumb extended in a tentative gesture of hope. He had never done this before, and uncertainty loomed over him. Maybe someone would stop to help, or perhaps he would be left standing there for hours. Eventually, someone did. Gabby wasn't in the habit of picking up hitchhikers. In fact, she usually preferred to keep to herself during long drives. However, after several hours on the road, the monotony began to wear on her, and she started to feel the heavy pull of sleepiness creeping in. So she thought that having some company might help keep her alert and engaged. As she approached the figure standing by the roadside, she noticed that Harvey was well-dressed. His appearance didn't match the stereotypical image of a thug or vagrant. He wasn't carrying a backpack or any luggage, which led her to believe he wasn't just another weary traveler, but rather someone who had found himself stranded for unknown reasons. With a mix of caution and curiosity, she pulled over, rolling down her window as he approached. Harvey came over. His demeanor was calm, and he explained how his car had overheated, his voice smooth and reassuring. He presented himself as a professional, dressed in neatly pressed slacks and a crisp button-down shirt, complemented by a tailored blazer that hinted at a meticulous nature. His hair was styled impeccably, and he maintained a well-groomed beard that framed his face, giving him a distinguished look that, while polished, also seemed to mask a deeper inner turmoil. As he described the delivery van he had been driving, Gabby suddenly recalled seeing a vehicle matching that description parked on the side of the road earlier, which confirmed his story in her mind. Intrigued and somewhat reassured, she asked Harvey where he was traveling to, and he explained that he was delivering goods to a country town near Broken Hill. He couldn't remember the exact name offhand, but he mentioned that he had it written down on the delivery docket, which he indicated was in his van. Their conversation flowed easily, and Gabby offered him a lift. Harvey felt tired as he listened attentively to Gabby explain her situation, revealing that she had recently escaped a terrible relationship and was now embarking on a journey to Queensland to live with her mother, who was becoming increasingly frail and needed her assistance. As she spoke, her voice carried a mixture of relief and apprehension, and Harvey could sense the weight of her decision. Curiosity piqued, he asked Gabby if she had any children, to which she laughed lightly and responded that motherhood wasn't her thing. Instead, she proudly mentioned that she had a fur baby, a Burmese cat named Clyde. She explained that she didn't think Clyde would handle the long trip in the car very well, so she had arranged for him to be transported separately in a pet carrier, flying to her mother's place, where a family friend would pick him up from the airport. As the conversation flowed, Gabby's gaze fell on the medical bag resting at Harvey's feet, prompting her to ask if he was a doctor. With a warm smile, Harvey replied, "No, I'm a vet," his tone revealing a hint of pride in his profession. They continued to chat for a long time, with Gabby recounting the details of her cat's last operation, describing how Clyde had been hit by a car and had required surgery to set his leg. Her gratitude for the veterinarian's compassionate care was evident, and Harvey listened intently, nodding in understanding. Then, halfway through their conversation, Harvey casually mentioned that the discussion reminded him he needed to take his insulin. "You're diabetic?" Gabby inquired, her interest piqued, which led her to start talking again about a friend of hers who also had diabetes and the challenges that came with it. Meanwhile, Harvey placed his medical bag on his lap and drew up a syringe of medication. As he prepared the injection, his mind began to wander. He had grown increasingly weary of Gabby's incessant chatter, yearning for a moment of silence to gather his thoughts. The vibrant conversation that had initially captivated him now felt overwhelming, and he silently wished for a break from the ebb and flow of her words. He aimed the needle as if to insert it into his side, but in a sudden and shocking twist, he jabbed it into Gabby's thigh instead. Gabby jumped, her eyes wide with panic and fear as she looked over at Harvey, instinctively trying to push his hand away. But it was already too late. The drug was coursing through her system. Instinctively, she pulled the car over to the side of the road, desperate to regain control of the situation. However, Gabby must have been far more sensitive to the drug than Arlie had been, for she essentially passed out immediately, her body slumping even before the car came to a complete stop. Realizing the urgency of the moment, Harvey swiftly engaged the handbrake to prevent the vehicle from rolling any further. As a couple of cars sped past them, their tires humming against the asphalt, Harvey took a deep breath and wrapped his arms around Gabby as if they were embracing, hoping to mask the reality of the situation from the passing motorists. Why did this stretch of highway have to be so busy? He wondered, his heart racing with both excitement and anxiety. As he sat there, he realized that he enjoyed meeting people on his travels. There was a certain thrill in the interactions, even if they often took a dark turn. Glancing at the console, he noticed Gabby had an open packet of chips and a bottle of water conveniently within reach. With a sense of morbid curiosity, he sat back and began to eat some of the chips, crunching them quietly as he took occasional sips of water, all while waiting for the road to become less congested. He hadn't quite timed this moment right. This area wasn't as deserted as where Arlie had been, and he quickly calculated that it was likely going to be too obvious to dispose of a body here without drawing attention. With a calculated movement, he managed to position Gabby's unconscious body so that her head was resting in his lap, taking a moment to appreciate her white t-shirt, which he thought would serve as a perfect canvas for his dark intentions. Harvey made a single cut from ear to ear rather than cutting a zigzag in Gabby's throat like he had done with Arlie. He then removed her lips and painted a smile on the painting by dipping his finger into the blood and drawing a circle on her white t-shirt. He put 2 single dots with blood for nostrils because he didn't think she needed a nose. After that, he removed her eyes and positioned them correctly. Satisfied with his artwork, he ceremoniously cleaned his equipment and placed it in his medical bag. He had a peculiar fascination with keys, believing that they held the power to unlock the mysteries of life itself, which is why he meticulously kept Gabby's keys, carefully placing them in his trusty medical bag alongside the equipment he had so fastidiously cleaned. His ritualistic approach to cleaning his tools of the trade reflected his obsessive nature. Each instrument was sanitized and placed in its exact position within the bag, a personal order that provided him with a sense of control and calm amidst the chaos he often created. As he rummaged through her handbag, his fingers brushed against various items until he finally unearthed her purse, the weight of it feeling significant in his hand. He realized that he might need the money it contained further along his dark path, while Gabby, in her current state, had no use for it anymore. With a practical mindset, he stepped out of the car, the door creaking slightly as it opened, and then paused to consider the vehicle's security. He thought it would be wise to lock the car, ensuring it remained safe from potential theft. After all, he wanted to avoid any unnecessary complications from leaving it unlocked. After a moment's hesitation, he locked the car, the satisfying click of the lock echoing in the stillness of the surroundings, leaving Gabby's lifeless body slumped in the passenger seat. He glanced back at the vehicle, a mixture of satisfaction and detachment washing over him as he prepared to continue his journey, the keys and the purse now adding to the dark tapestry of his unfolding narrative. Remember to like, subscribe, and share to others so you don't miss an episode.